Hey, thank wrestling fans. We are revisiting the Mania. We are a WrestleMania rewatch podcast. I'm Carlos,
And I'm Maria.
and we are continuing down the realm of professional wrestling that my wife has agreed to embark on this roller coaster ride of emotions and athleticism with larger than life personalities.
You're talking about larger than life personalities. That's right. What about that Brock Lesnar? So, WrestleMania 19 stands out as a pinnacle moment as beloved superstars of the past return and superstars are shot into the stratosphere. This particular WrestleMania left an mark on the hearts of fans like you and like us worldwide.
Yeah, we're gonna dive into this nostalgic journey of rewatching WrestleMania 19 to be reminded of the magic, drama, and the sheer spectacle
There were
that only
spectacles.
the grandest stage of them all can bring. And we are not alone this time. We have a returning guest from podcast Championship Wrestling, Wayne, also known as Semi Dried Chicken.
Dude, thanks for having me back again, man. It's great
Thanks
to
for
be
joining
here.
For
us.
joining
Yeah,
Dude,
it's been
us.
a
it's
while.
great to be a guest, because I can just sit here as a guest. I can finally just kick back and just relax, Like I don't
Yeah.
have to run the show. It's nice. But I love being here. We still talk about wrestling. So I mean,
That's
WrestleMania
true.
19, man. Let's
Yeah.
get into it. I mean, what
Yeah.
year is this? 2003?
2003, March 30th, right?
Yeah,
Take me back to the Limp Bizkit days.
that's right. And we're in Safeco Field, which all of you that live there know now it's T-Mobile Field, and the tagline is "Dare to Dream."
Yeah. We kind of borrowed that tagline, Dare to Dream. So we're going to be revisiting, giving our thoughts and rate this. Was this event, as the tagline saying, we dare to dream? Was this a wrestling fan's dream,
Or
or
was it
was
a
it a nightmare?
nightmare?
I guess we'll find out today, right?
Half nightmare, half dream,
Uh, I don't know what that's called. A half and half.
a half and half. Sweet and low.
All right. You got any tidbits before we get into the matches?
Well, like Wayne said, the official theme song for the event from Limp Bizkit was Crack Addict.
Mm,
They appeared to perform this song. They also played Rollin' Air Raid Vehicles during the Undertaker's entrance,
yeah,
which I
that's his
thought
theme
was
song.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
And those that know me know I was actually a pretty big Limp Bizkit fan in high school. Were
Yeah,
all of you Limp Bizkit fans?
I was a
I mean,
fan of a couple of songs. I'm not sure
couple
about
of
Wayne.
songs, yeah, exactly. I didn't see myself buying Limp Bizkit tickets anytime soon. I was a skater. That was what I was doing around 2003. So yeah, Limp Bizkit was definitely some tunes there. And with Roland already hot with the Undertaker, of course, naturally you're just gonna dive into what other good songs that they had.
Right.
That's one thing WWE was good at back a little bit around this time, is just giving all these bands different chances to play their theme music, for the pay-per-view. So
Let's not forget Saliva.
Oh,
yeah,
that last.
Saliva.
Was it Motley Crue?
I
Yeah,
don't
well,
Saliva?
you're gonna get more Saliva, you're gonna get more Motorhead, you're gonna get more Limp Bizkit, you're gonna
More
get
Yeah,
more Kid
metal?
Rock, you're gonna get
yeah,
you're gonna get a lot of reoccurring Snoop Dogg, you're gonna get just reoccurring, and I'm cool with it, but it's just I don't know, it's like, was I introduced to that music through WWE through their video promos, or was it just something I naturally came across? And I honestly, a lot of new songs were through WWE. I
Hmm.
mean, go back and look at those old video packages for some of these pay-per-views. Like,
Right.
they're not like they are today. Not they definitely aren't. We just do too much recapping, not enough storytelling. Just
Hmm.
those were the days.
Those
hmm
were
Good
the
quality.
days. I forget what show that's from. Do you remember? Those
That's
were the days.
All in the Family.
Oh, and the family.
That's the song they're singing when they're playing the piano.
I caught the first episode of that recently when I was looking for nostalgic things to watch aside from wrestling. So, do you want to get into the first match, or do you want to
Yeah,
talk about?
the first match is WrestleMania debut of a star in the making. The masked legend, as we know him now, Rey Mysterio,
Mhm.
makes his WrestleMania debut against Matt Hardy. He's out on his own. He's no longer with his brother Jeff.
He's an
And he
Uno
comes
instead of
with
a
little
duo.
fun tidbits because he's Matt 1.0. And this match, yeah, version 1. And this match goes for 5 minutes and 37 seconds.
I feel like Rey Mysterio needs like a bigger introduction. So not only is he Lucha Libre legend and master of the 619, so that's the name of, for all of you that don't know, these guys I'm pretty sure do know, is not only the name of his move, but also an area code in San Diego.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's accurate.
Yeah.
Thank you for providing real hard hitting facts on that, because there may be people out there who did not know the area code of San Diego and why it was called the 619.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Ours is the 610.
The 610.
Ooh.
We're the
610.
312 or the 773.
610, baby.
All right.
I'm gonna get tattooed right across my chest, I think. 610.
I feel like my cousin has one
Like,
on his, not his chest, or like his abdomen or something.
I think
like
Ray,
that.
yeah, I think Ray has 619 on his abdomen, right?
Yeah, he does it. He
Yeah.
does it. Yeah.
That's the way to
Oh,
do
man.
it.
I mean,
I
that's
guess,
one
right?
way not to forget the prefix of your home phone number or your cell phone,
Mhm.
right? What is
Very
it? What's the
clever.
area code? Okay, 619.
So I know
Yeah.
who I'm rooting for. Wayne, who are you rooting for during this first match?
You know what? Like at this time, like you said, Carlos, this is when Matt Hardy and Jeff are apart. And this is like the first time I think I've seen them apart. You got Matt on SmackDown and I think Jeff's on Raw. So yeah, he's doing this whole version 1 thing. He's doing this whole version 1 run. And I did like his entrances. Because on the side they would give like little tidbits, little facts about Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Every episode it was different. It was never two or the same. Which I always thought was cool. It'd be like, oh, Matt can kayak or something, or like he can do like, I don't know, a sailor's knot, like just dumb facts, But whatever. And it was with Shannon Moore, so I guess his character didn't. I don't know. It peaked, and it didn't get anywhere past mid cards. He had a great cruiserweight title run. I remember like he was trying to make weight, like that was the big thing. And I kind of recall a similar situation with like Christian when he was doing like the light heavyweight title back in the Attitude Era. Like I remember him trying to do everything to cut weight, to be a cruiserweight, because I think what was it like you had to be like 220, under 220 to be a cruiserweight. So yeah, and Rey Mysterio. I mean, dude, like this guy's still on the main roster today. Like now his son's on the main roster. So seeing like young Ray, like he still moves like that. He still maybe not as many 619s, but he still moves. And let's not forget, like this is the beginning of Ray with the awesome costumes at WrestleMania. Like he's always had awesome gear, right? But like every WrestleMania from like here on out, it's gonna be something unique. Like this year it was Daredevil, right?
Yeah, for
So
this one.
Yeah. So like as we go, we're gonna see like the Spider-Man one, we're gonna see the Captain America one. So we're gonna see like all these cool outfits that he has for the next couple of years, and he still does it. He still does it. So his mask is a little different, his gear's a little different. He looks like he's wearing a diaper, because his pants are just stuffed with. But Rey Mysterio is still kicking. Recently United States champion.
Still taking names and kicking ass.
Yeah, I guess, right?
Mhm.
But let's for a moment let's talk about the Cruiserweight Championship. Like we don't have that anymore. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago having 205 Live, and we had the purple cruiserweight title.
Yay.
Yeah.
With notable people were Mustafa Ali, Cedric Alexander, and I forgot, like there was another guy who was there
We had
that I
one
was
of my
keeping
favorite cruiserweight champions was Enzo Amore. When that guy got the
lucky for
title, I
you.
knew he was gonna be something special. But you know, what I'm trying to get at is like the cruiserweight title comes and goes, you know, and then it had its own like division, and it kicked the bucket. It just wasn't a thing anymore. Sometimes I miss it. You know, I guess when you have a large roster, some of these smaller guys could get lost in the shuffle, you know?
Right.
So it was nice to see the cruiserweight title. So it'll stick around for a couple more years. And then unfortunately, the last person who holds it is Hornswoggle.
So I'm curious,
Right?
what do you guys
Yeah.
think about Matt Hardy's Mattitude gimmick? Were you guys into that?
I was into it.
Yeah, I was
would.
for him having his own interesting gimmick that didn't bore the shit out of me. Like, yeah, I was into it.
Yeah, I mean, Matt had this gimmick. Jeff Hardy had the "I don't longer want to live" gimmick.
Right.
So
yeah. But you know
it
what
was
though?
very
Matt
different.
Hardy was at this time he was consistent. He was on TV a lot as a heel, but he was doing stuff on TV every week. And he,
Right.
you know, he wasn't failing drug tests or anything like that. That man was there working. Mattitude version 1. So
Yeah.
So as far as this match kicking off WrestleMania 19, do you think this was a solid match?
I think it was. I mean, you heard it in the pop that Rey Mysterio gets. Like at this point, Rey hasn't been wrestling that long in the WWE. I believe he debuted in either May or June of 2002. But before that, he didn't like come when Vince bought out WCW. He decided to just get released from his contract, and he actually went to Mexico to go wrestle.
Wow.
So nobody knew him, and it was pretty good because at that time he didn't have to worry about people that may have remembered that in WCW he had actually lost his mask, so he was unmasked.
yeah, I
And for
remember that.
luchadors to be unmasked, that's supposed to be a permanent thing. So
Wow.
for them to, I think maybe I'm not sure if it was Ray's idea or maybe somebody else's idea in the office of the WWE, but it was a good way to make people forget of what had happened, and they no one ever brings it up as far as like WWE TV.
Right.
Us smart marks and people who've been watching wrestling for as long as they can remember know when Eddie Guerrero beat Rey Mysterio, and thus he had to take off his mask. So it was a fun reintroduction, and I was very excited to see him when he first arrived. It was a big deal. He also started as Rey Mysterio Jr.
Right.
He took the moniker from his uncle. His dad is not the original Rey Mysterio. His uncle is. So, and then the WW or Vince decided to drop the junior, so it's just gonna call him Rey Mysterio.
Wow. So I'm rooting for Rey Mysterio, and if you have had the opportunity to watch this podcast before, like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm definitely a fan of lucha style wrestling, so I thought this was a perfect match and two really great wrestlers to kick off this WrestleMania. And Wayne,
I
did he
think he
freeze?
froze. Wayne, do you recommend that people revisit this match?
Uh-oh.
He's freezing.
You
Well,
back?
Yes,
He's
we
freezing.
can hear you.
Yeah, you're back. Oh, he
Okay.
froze again.
Oh my
There
gosh.
was a glitch in the Matrix.
I was.
Oh
Do
man.
you
I was
recommend that
listening and I
people
heard
revisit
robot
this
voice.
Yeah. Oh, you heard a robot voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I enjoyed this match. What a good opening match, right? Like two safe workers. This is actually the first win for Matt Hardy out of WrestleMania. Actually, for either of the Hardys out of WrestleMania. So this was a big win for him. Even though Ray's fresh and new to WrestleMania altogether, and these guys really just put a great show on just for the opening match of the 5 minutes and 37 seconds. They made it
Yeah.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, would you recommend people revisit or?
Oh, definitely. Like if especially now, like if you know anything of Matt Hardy and Ray, you want to see these guys young, like in their, maybe not even in their prime, just green, but still, sharp,
Right.
developing.
Right.
This is definitely the time to watch them. It is right now. So, yeah, absolutely, go back and revisit this match.
Awesome. So that's a highly recommended match from all three of us. Clean sweep. And we'll move on to match number 2, in which we have The Undertaker still doing his biker gimmick versus The Big Show and the
A-Train?
A-Train as his partner. This match was originally supposed to be a tag match with MMA fighter. Forgot his name already, and I forgot to put it in my notes. But let's just say that the MMA fighter that they had scripted to be with him, Nathan Jones. Now that I found the
Nathan
note,
Jones.
yeah, apparently he was not doing good in any of the match pre-walk and walkthroughs or any of his training, so they just decided to scrap him, write him off from actually participating in the match,
Wow.
and actually have it just be a handicap match between the Big Show, Prince or Albert, or and then the A-Train as he knows now, and the Undertaker.
So this match goes on for 9 minutes and 42 seconds, and we see a false finish in the beginning of the match. I'm rooting for the Undertaker, and he doesn't disappoint because he jumps over A-Train like a beast from X-Men, and I thought that shit was cool.
Yeah. What about you, Wayne? Who were you rooting for?
Oh man, it's always Taker. I mean, this is
Okay.
when really the ball starts really rolling for Taker for these streaks. Like the streak is starting to, the wheels are starting to turn. Like people are like, I think there's a streak starting. It's like, when do you start to realize that there's a streak starting? We had that with Goldberg. We had that with like Asuka. We had it with just a bunch of wrestlers who would just Ryback. Would just have these streaks. Rusev had one too, like that. He was undefeated for like so long. Umaga had that, and like Chris Masters had like the master lock, but nobody broke, until somebody broke it. So everybody has streaks. It's like, when do you realize that the streak is starting? And I think this is it. I think this is when it's starting. And a handicap match, because Nathan Jones was too green for a tag match. Okay. Like, but why did it take you this long to realize this guy is still green as goose shit? Like, I feel like by Rumble, you should know if this guy is ready for like a match at WrestleMania, right? Like, I mean, we kind of know that now, even looking at some of the guys on the current roster. We're like, yeah, this guy, like LA Knight, this guy over a year definitely deserves a match at WrestleMania. It doesn't have to be a main event, but we know he can handle a match at WrestleMania. But to be like that bad, that like, you're in the ring with the Undertaker, the Big Show, and A-Train, and A-Train became a trainer after he got done wrestling. So like these are like good in-ring guys to be working with, and the fact that they can't even trust him to be out there is saying something about how bad of a wrestler you are. He didn't stick around too long, and then he went off to acting. He did, movies like Mad Max and The Condemned he was in. I don't know too many Nathan Jones movies. I'm not like a huge Nathan Jones fan, so I'm not going to his IMDb and checking out everything he's doing.
Right.
But yeah, but like the match overall, like Undertaker made chicken salad out of chicken shit, basically, and he did a pretty convincing job. Like these two behemoth guys, like you're looking at it, you're like, there's no way, but he makes it work. He just uses that in-ring experience. He uses, the smarts to separate, break these guys down, and then Nathan Jones comes out, which to me was kind of pointless. Like, I get it. You don't want him to go over too strong that he beat
Right.
both of these guys, because then how are you going to stack that up next year, right? So, yes, I understand the Nathan Jones coming in, big, taking out one of the guys, and then, them doing a double team move in the ring and whatever. But overall, it was all right. It's not one of his best Taker matches for sure, but what you can take away from this is, like I said, like the ball is rolling here for the streaks. This is where it's starting. So
is this a recommended match for you? I'm so curious.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, the way you were talking, I was like,
we had our highs and then we had our
I know, exactly. You have your highs
lows.
and you have your lows, but that's because you have good in-ring workers, making those highs, doing the best of what they have, because this going into this wasn't planned as a handicap. I think it was just like up to like a few weeks or something that it was changed, right?
Right.
So for them to like, thinking about, because like I said, like Royal Rumble is kind of where they lay out the foundation for a lot of WrestleMania key matches, and you would think for Taker, it would be like, Rumble time, like this is who you guys are going against. This is gonna be your tag team partner. You have like 3 months to like get ready for this match, and then a few weeks beforehand, they had probably had to adjust everything in that match, and they made the best of it. And yeah, it definitely wasn't Taker's worst match for sure, but
and what about you? Because I know what I think about this match.
As much as Wayne is standing up for, like, they made chicken salad out of chicken poop.
Yes.
I just they tried, but it's still, to me, like an unwatchable match. I know they're performing, like they put on a they gave the people their money's worth. They were there.
Yeah.
But as far as us, like my wife watching this WrestleMania 19 for the first time, and we're going along these matches, and out of these, I believe now he's Undertaker is 11-0. So out of the 11 matches that he's had at WrestleManias, I haven't had one that I've actually recommended still. I know it's coming.
I know, that's what I mean. Like the ball is starting to, the snowball is getting bigger.
It's so this is like my least favorite Undertaker match. It's tied up there with him facing off against the Giant Gonzalez. So
I didn't mind that match. So so this is not a recommended match for you.
No.
And I have to concur with both of you gentlemen. When I first saw these two were wrestling, I got excited. Fan of the Undertaker, also a fan of the Big Show. And like I said, I was rooting for the Undertaker in the beginning of the match because I'm like, all right, that shit's cool. I noticed that A-Train is more of a brawler, and a shout out to his hair shirt. He was like very hairy gentleman. But this is actually not a recommended match for me. We had a couple of cool spots. Like you said, UFC Nathan Jones, he makes an appearance, super casual with some Adidas jogger bottoms. He really didn't do much for that match for me. And with that said, even though I enjoy watching these two wrestlers wrestle, this was not a recommended match for me. It's a pass.
All right. So for my panel or longtime veteran sports entertainment fans and marking training, we recommend that you do not revisit the Undertaker handicap match of WrestleMania 19.
But maybe watch the entrance.
Oh.
I did not
The
like that
entrance.
entrance.
Okay.
I like in my head I had been
Yeah.
talking to my wife about that's one of his entrances that I like, but
Yeah.
now I got to see it and I'm like, this is a terrible entrance.
Okay, so was this the intro with Fred Durst
Yeah,
then dancing with
Yeah.
backup
yeah.
dancers? Like, hats off to him for keeping in line with those backup dancers. And then, like I said, when I was in school and you said you were skateboarding, we were doing
Yeah.
graffiti and the odds and ends during that time. We used to drive into school listening to their significant other album. And some of my favorite songs are just like this and break stuff. So I appreciated seeing them. Intro was cool, but the match again was a pass.
All right. And with that, we'll move on to match number 3. The second year in a row that we get a women's triple threat match for the women's championship belt. We have Jazz making her WrestleMania return, along with Trish Stratus, and a new face of the women's division, Victoria,
Lisa Marie.
or as she's known as Lisa Marie. Victoria is her name here, so let's go ahead and break it down here. Now, Maria, this match that we have here, it goes for 7 minutes and 17 seconds.
Right, for the WWE Women's Championship, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And shout out to all of the ladies, all looking fierce, all looking super strong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Trish and Jazz. I feel like we get a few good spots and some good moves by Jazz. She power bombs Trish,
Yeah.
and that was a lot of fun. We get a handstand hurricane from Trish, and I haven't seen a single leg crab in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So tip of the hat to Jazz. But with that said, it wasn't really a favorite match for me. It was a pass. What do you guys think?
Wayne?
I agree. It was a pass for me. At this time in the women's division, uh, it's like a hit and miss,
Mm-hmm.
with good matches. And like you have Trish, you have Lita at this time. You do have some good female wrestlers, but it's still developing. And Victoria, will become a good one because she ends up holding the women's title like a couple times.
Right.
She has a great feud with Trish Stratus. That's one thing I remember about her is having a great feud with Trish, for sure. Like if I can think back to her career in WWE, like I'd say her peak for me remembering it would be her feud with Trish. So I think that I don't know if that happened before this or after this. But as for Jazz, like I don't know. Jazz wasn't like a big marquee wrestler for me back in the day, only because she didn't make waves. She didn't win any titles. She didn't stick around too long. She wasn't like a dominant force as they booked her to look like. They booked her to come off as this what we have today is like maybe like a Bianca Belair, like this smaller woman, but who's just packed with power, and I think they had something with her and they just dropped the ball with her. That's all. I just don't think at that time anything about me was like, ooh, come on, we gotta go. Jazz, she's wrestling. We gotta sit down and watch it. No. We'll eat dinner later. Jazz is wrestling. No,
That's fair.
it's not. Yeah, it's not. So like this triple threat match was just like, let's be honest. Okay, it's 2003. I know me. I probably went to the bathroom. This was a bathroom break for me. Especially after sitting through a very, I guess you could say the Undertaker the triple threat match was pretty long, but this one was only like 7 minutes, 17 seconds.
Right.
I get it. We know further down the line where it gets bloated in time, but
Mm-hmm.
they're lucky to even be on because we see what other kind of women we have on the show. Just really shows what kind of screen time any kind of women get. And
That was a sign of the times for me. I'm like, holy shit. I was like, things are
yeah,
certainly different.
Yeah.
I'm
It's,
actually kind of curious to know, like the exact time frame, like screen time that the Miller Lite Catfight girls got compared to the actual, like women's championship
I
match.
feel like it
Like,
was like maybe about 3 to 5. We can definitely look it up to see what the airtime was,
but
but it
right,
feels like a good
like
3 to 5.
you
it
guys
should have been
remember they
about
had,
the same because they
yeah,
had those vignettes, and
yes,
then
they
they
had the
have
vignettes,
the
the
bed
match,
the bed fat the
The Bed
bed
Bath and
fight.
Beyond.
Yeah, the whatever.
cat fight.
The cat fight in the bed.
Ugh.
There you go.
Yes.
So, what did you think of this match?
This was a borderline match, and there's some good spots here. I mean, we do get Jazz. Jazz had a long history. Coming out. This is her second year in a row being in a triple
Yeah.
threat match. The previous one, she was the champion, and she retained, I believe, because Dre was mad. Your co-host Dre was mad that Trish did not win the title in
That's right.
Toronto because that's where X8 was. So I mean, this time Trish actually wins, and there's a new women's champion. But they tried. I don't know why they tried a triple threat match again. I like booking wise, it doesn't make sense because, well, I guess if you're extending the story, and that's probably what you're referring to, that they end up feuding a little bit more longer between Trish and
Yeah.
Victoria.
Right.
But you could just easily still have that particular feud go on without having Jazz involved in this match. And that's how I felt. It felt like this match should have just been a one-on-one, and it probably would have been better, especially if you're going to be allotting 7 minutes for this particular match. You know, one-on-one 7 minutes is more time for more moves, more spots, to be more of a cohesive mass than trying to have a 3-on-3, because then you're like, okay, now you're gonna get kicked out. Now I'm gonna get kicked out, and trying to figure out the finish from there. So
Yeah, it's fun when Steven Richard he gets in the ring,
Mhm.
but that's the funnest part of this match.
Steven Richard. You know
Yeah.
where he's from? He's
Where is
from
he from?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Is he?
Yeah,
Tell us more.
that's all I got.
He's from Philly. Okay, got it.
Maybe Doyle will be able to tell us
Steven.
some more.
Yeah, it's Stevie. It's Steven
Stevie
Richards. Like
Richards.
what's there to talk about? The guy didn't hang around WWE that long. He was in Blue World Order. He was in WCW. He went to ECW. He was in WWE from 99 to 2008.
Mm.
Then he was, and I think he was out of the company by like 2000. 2008. Yeah. So.
But for those of you listening, for those of you watching, if you fell asleep during the last match, wake up, because this next match is pretty good.
Yeah, so we have 4 years running of a tag team title match that involves multiple teams. And this is a triple threat match between Los Guerreros. And you may be thinking, but there's only one Guerrero, and his name is Eddie. Guess what? He brought his nephew with him. Chavo Guerrero makes his WrestleMania debut, and they are facing off against the team of Rhino and Chris Benoit, and a tag team that's also making its WrestleMania debut. They are Team Angle, and they are Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. This match goes for 8 minutes and 48 seconds. Maria?
Well, I just want to say shout out to Chavo, right?
Mhm.
Because he's making the rounds with the Iron Claw,
Mhm.
and he did some training for that movie, so he's
Yeah.
making his rounds.
He
in
also did it for
Hollywood.
Glow,
For Glow as well.
the Netflix show, and
So it's pretty cool. I was really excited about this match. Wayne, what do you think about this tag team extravaganza?
You know what? This was an awesome match. Like, and you know who made it awesome? Eddie Guerrero, Benoit, Chavo, like all these guys. You had a bunch of good wrestlers in the ring, a good mixture of talent in there. It's just like the perfect chemistry for a great tag match. I mean, come on. Like for me, when Eddie and Chavo teamed up around this time, I loved it. I love all the shenanigans and shit they got into. The lying, the cheating, the stealing. I loved it all. Viva la raza. I loved it. But like, you know what? Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas, this was like peak for them. They were in Team Angle. I mean, that definitely was peak for both of them, especially Charlie Haas. Like, this is as far as you're gonna go, man. Like, this is the top of the mountain for you. Shelton Benjamin had a pretty not successful, a pretty decent singles career. He recently just left WWE, so I mean that's another guy who's still wrestling to this day. You know, a lot of these people on this roster aren't wrestling anymore. You know, so what can I guess what can you say about Benoit? You know, it is what it is. He's a good wrestler in the ring, and that's it. That's all
Right.
you got to say about that guy. And then there's Rhino. You know, Rhino was. They say he weighed like 275. I don't. That's what they said. Like I was like, I can't picture that guy at 275. He was a short dude.
Yeah, but he was a beast. He was
Girthy.
strong on top. And what's his move?
It's called the gore,
gore.
but
Yeah,
it's
the
like
gore.
it's a spear, but he called it a gore
You
because
try
he's a
recovering
rhino.
from a gore from Rhino. That's
Yeah.
275 all
Yeah,
day.
I mean, I believe now he's probably 275. He's definitely a lot wider.
Yeah,
He's
but he
definitely
was
more of
like
a rhino than he ever was. But
all stock, all muscle. That
yeah,
guy
and he's still
was
wrestling.
sturdy.
I believe. I believe
Yeah,
he's
he
still
did.
wrestling.
I don't know where, if he's like wrestling somewhere consistently, but I think he made an appearance in AEW for a match.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a guy who who I don't think he ever. No, he's never held a bigger title. Did he hold the ECW title ever? I assume so, right?
I would assume
But
he probably held it before Vince bought it.
yeah, definitely before, because then I remember he went to Impact Wrestling for a while. He did that run for a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, then he came back and did like a small tag team run. But he's been out of WWE since. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, again, overall, I love this match. You had the great amount of talent in there, so much talent, and just put on a stellar match for a tag match. And by the way, we did have the Raw tag titles, but they were on the kickoff show, so we
Right.
never got to see them. But I always like the design of the SmackDown tag titles at this time. It was like they look like the original tag titles, maybe like the Attitude Era, and just little colors messed with, and it had just a little bit of blue, just a little bit to know it's SmackDown. Not like today, where it's like, hey, we're gonna make it look like a penny, and then we're gonna make the entire strap blue just in case you forget. So, yeah, I kind of like those older titles.
So I feel like this was a revisit for you. You sound like this is an excellent match, or was it a pass for
Yeah.
you?
No, excellent match,
And for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a revisit for me. I
Mhm.
recommend that people go out there and go look at this match. You figured that in the past 3 WrestleManias, we always had the previous two. I think the other one was just a tornado tag, but there was some gimmick that was always involved. WrestleMania 2000, we had the ladder match between the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian.
Right.
And WrestleMania 17, we had tables, ladders, and chairs between the same trio. And then the previous Mania, we had the 4-way tornado match: the Dudleys, Billy and Chuck. I think it was Perry and Eddie. No, Dean Malenko and Eddie, and I forget. Oh, the APA. So we're slowly getting to maybe getting into a possible one team versus another team.
Okay.
But
Mhm.
the WWE at this time was very, very like they had good workers for tag teams, and they had a lot of talent because of the acquisitions of the two previous companies, WCW, ECW. Um, so they had a lot of experimenting to do. Like you guys are a tag team. We need you guys out
Oh
there.
my
So
gosh, yeah, so many different random tag teams thrown together, and so many just gimmicks, like new gimmicks would come out. It was ridiculous. It was like I felt like every few weeks there was a new tag team. Definitely not as many as we have today, um, but just some of them are like just cringy too. But
Like who? I'm just curious.
like the Billy
Okay,
and
so
Chuck.
Deuce and Domino. Like, yeah,
Oh
Billy and
man.
Chuck. Like, yeah, dude. Like, it's just like there's just some cringeworthy tag teams that just, ugh. And some that just never did anything even. But remember Heidenreich and Animal were together? That was a thing. Like the new Legion
Mm,
of Doom. Like that.
yeah.
Oh God, that was a thing. Um, like, but um, this is actually a special time too for you got to keep your eye on Eddie Guerrero because he does his thing with Chavo for a while, but
Mhm.
then Eddie starts to go on his own and become the WWE champion, and that's like in a few years. That's like less than 2 years because he passed away in 2005. So like so much happens between 2003 and 2005 with Eddie Guerrero,
Right.
and Chris Benoit as well, all the way up to 2006.
Mhm.
Uh, like just it's crazy when you just look at this roster now and you think like just in like 2 or 3 years time how much these guys develop, and then there's some that just fall right the hell off the map. So
Right. Yeah.
And what about you? Do you recommend that people rewatch this match?
I definitely do. I like to watch all three of these tag teams wrestle. It feels like it's just like too much cool, like a trifecta of cool.
Hmm.
So I was really excited to see this match. I thought it was great. You get some excellent wrestling, good spots. Like I said, don't forget Rhino. He gored all match long. And I do feel like Latino Heat should have won. But I'm not mad at the win either. So, Team Angle, they won, right?
Team Angle wins. Eddie gets a frog splash on and to break up a pin,
Right.
and Chavo and I believe it's Shelton
Mhm.
are in. No, Charlie is in the ring, and Charlie's trying to recover. And then Eddie goes after Rhino on the outside, and then Shelton comes in and gets the pin in the win because of the frog splash breakup that Eddie did. So
Yeah, so do yourself a favor and rewatch this match. Really good work, really good wrestling, and you get to see three tag teams, one problematic wrestler, like you said, Benoit, but some excellent wrestling.
all right. And then this brings us to our next match, which would be the fifth match in this card. We have a return.
The Heartbreak Kid,
The Heartbreak
Mr.
Kid,
WrestleMania,
Shawn Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania himself.
the Showstopper,
Yeah.
the main event,
Returns.
yeah,
Mr. Main Event versus Chris Jericho.
the Icon,
the Ayatollah of rock and roller.
the Sexy Boy.
This match goes for 22 minutes and 34 seconds. Maria?
As well it should.
Yeah.
It should.
What did you think? We've seen Shawn Michaels come back.
I was really excited, as you can tell. I'm a fan, and I mean, Sean versus Brett. I'm a Brett fan, but I was excited to see Shawn Michaels in the ring, and Jericho looks great. No scarf, but I love his wrestling gear, and I'm happy to see Shawn Michaels return. What about you guys?
Wayne?
Dude, the story for this was so well done. Like, Jericho was a fan of Shawn Michaels. He had pictures of him, on posters of him on his wall. He was inspired by the way he wrestled. Like, everything was taken from Shawn Michaels. If like he was trying to be the next Shawn Michaels, but at the end of the day, Chris Jericho ended up being his own. Like, talk about two of the like best in ring competitors at this time, like in the ring together. And I was so happy to see Shawn Michaels back. Granted, like around this time, he also feuds a lot with Triple H, because Triple H has gone through his reign of terror. But to see Shawn back and just join WrestleMania, because I think he was going to pass on this. He didn't want to do WrestleMania, but I guess you found the right guy to work with Shawn. All the fantastic different holds between the two guys, the mixture of stealing moves from each other, and how quickly this match, it was a long match, but how quickly it ended. Oh boy, how quickly it ended. It ended with a really unique roll up, so I think that's a really unique way to end that kind of match. Not like they're both exhausted. Like, we've seen how certain matches, like maybe like Taker and Shawn Michaels, how they kind of end. Like, these guys are winded and exhausted. But this one, it was just like, they're just hitting each other with move after move after move, countering each other because they're just so damn good, And then just, it reminds me of, like, if you've ever played like the Wrestling 2K games, right? It's not like you're playing with a guy with a lot of health. You're playing with a guy who knows all the reverses, who can block everything that you're throwing at him. That's what it's kind of like, like everything that Jericho would throw at Michaels, he would reverse it. But the same was with everything that, Michaels would throw at Jericho. It'd be the same way, they would just reverse it. These guys are just so damn good. And I love this match. Like, I think because of the heel face factor, obviously, like, I was like, oh, Michaels has got to win, because Jericho still wrestles today. Another guy on this card who still wrestles today, and we know Shawn Michaels isn't running NXT right now, but Jericho evolves through, and like, holy crap, we're gonna see it too in the next couple of WrestleManias here. Jericho just evolves; it keeps evolving, and he just gets better and better and better, and he doesn't get stale. He has his ups and downs, but he just never hits that stale. He's always stays interesting, and Shawn Michaels stays around for a couple more years, and he, it's weird to think that he never holds another heavyweight title again. Like, he comes back, he holds the world title one time at the Elimination Chamber, and then that's it. And I think it was the year prior, 2002. But yeah, that's it. And then, like, Michael's just, he has that kind of talent and that ability. Like, he doesn't need a title to be relevant, and Jericho's the same way. Put these two guys together in the middle of the card too, dead center of the card. So after you may have you may have been kind of tired from some of these other matches, they may put you to sleep. Like, the women's match may have put you to sleep,
The Undertaker match.
Maybe, I don't know, but this is definitely the pick me up that WrestleMania 19 needed, and this is definitely what kept this WrestleMania head above water and kept it a good one. Was matches like a tag team match, and then coming right off of that and having this one, Mr. WrestleMania versus, at the time, the best in the world. That's what he says.
Like you said, Jericho's no slouch. You said the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla, the man of 1,004 holds, the Lionheart, the Gift of Jericho, the Demo God, the Painmaker.
Those are later.
I was excited to see him wrestle. We've seen Shawn Michaels go for an hour long. Like you said, he wasn't gassed during this match at all. This was a good return for him. It was an excellent match and definitely a rewatch. I thought it was great. Both of them were really good. I was rooting for both of them. It was
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah, so that's a recommendation from you as well, I'm
It
assuming.
is.
So I
Yeah.
also agree with you all. Well, this is a recommended match for me as well. We saw Sean return, and he did not like hold back anything as far as this match is concerned. He he did have a couple of issues. Uh, before with his back and would he ever come back and wrestle, and we were never going to be sure that we'd get another Shawn Michaels match. But when we did get it and we didn't know how it would turn out, he delivered. And up to this point, I think there was only like one match that I probably enjoyed from Jericho, um, from the past four WrestleManias that he's debuted, when he debuted in WrestleMania 2000. So um, this, and that was kind of like another borderline match, but this was no doubt about no borderline matches here. You can like, it was kind of like iffy on whether I would enjoy it when I seen that when Sean's coming down and he's failing to have those shooter guns with the confetti and only one side is working and the other side's not working.
Oh yeah, but he like ad libs it so well.
Yeah.
Like on the Shawn Michaels that's one of the guys who definitely can ad lib and make the best of a shitty situation.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So I enjoyed that.
And then they make it up to him because I was like, I remember fireworks in this entrance, and they don't have
Yeah.
the traditional fireworks behind them because they put it all the way on top of the stadium and they try to pan the camera right to get that same angle so you get that authentic HBK entrance.
Yeah.
And that's so you knew he was back, and it was a recommended match for me, and I can't stop talking about Sean, but we must, and we need to move on. But this is definitely a recommended match. If you have not seen this match, if you're new to wrestling, just like my wife, and go do yourself a favor. We're recommending this match. Put aside maybe 23, 25 minutes because you have to include the entrances. Pull up Peacock, go find it on
Or
YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, go out there and do yourself a favor. Add this match. This is a very great match that encompasses two performers, giving you not only storytelling of a few from the promos leading up to that match, but also in ring too.
And if you love wrestling as much as these guys do, and as much as I'm starting to, we also have a companion list for WrestleMania 19 with some interviews and some matches. So we've linked that on our YouTube page if you're interested and curious, like I am. So with that, do you all want to talk about the Miller Lite Gals, Katana Baker?
Yes, why not? Why not? Like this is prime 2003 right here.
Hmm.
This is definitely it's like I was watching this with my girlfriend, and then like as this is happening, because she watches wrestling now, right? But she's been watching wrestling modern day. She hasn't watched this kind of stuff. So to go from like, you know, past the women's revolution, past all that, past the evolution pay-per-view, past the women getting more airtime and more titles and all that, she's never seen the build for all that and what they went through, but she got to see this, and I was like, yeah, that's Tori Wilson, and somehow, some way, she gets inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame, and she does stuff like this. it's it's you know definitely a product of the time. I get it, Miller Lite. They probably paid them a lot of money for this segment.
Hmm.
Uh, it was a dead crowd to it. It wasn't as like the funny part, having Coach in there was the funny part. Coach somehow gets his pants pulled all the way down,
Right.
and the coach is wearing tidy whities. So
Right.
I did totally forget about that. So when I saw
Yeah,
that,
me
I
too.
laughed because Coach, the man's now on ESPN. The
Mhm.
coach did some funny stuff back in the day. Like he did some funny comical stuff for people on TV, and this was one of them. The man,
Hmm.
dude, like uh, the man pulled his pants down in front of 50,000 people in his underwear. Like
Right.
that's all. That's great. Like when you look at it in a bigger picture, like, holy crap, I think this guy just pulled his pants down and now it's on Peacock forever.
Or on
But
YouTube, on the interwebs.
It's
yeah,
everywhere.
right. But yeah, I mean, whatever kind of segment. They were in like a bed that was like, it looked like two king size beds that they dragged out there.
Hmm.
And then, they were arguing all night over who's going to win, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Or no, it was Vince. No,
Or
yeah, it was
Hulk.
Vince
Yeah,
and Hulk
Vincent Hulk
Hogan.
Hogan.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. They're gonna fight later. Okay. And then they introduced, Tori Wilson and Stacy into it. And this is at the time when I also had to quick grab the remote and like pause and like explain to my girlfriend, okay, listen, at this time, they allowed one WWE diva to appear in Playboy every year. And I was like, they no longer do this, unfortunately. But but yeah, definitely a different time.
It
Because
is.
we don't have that now. Yeah.
That's kind of the interesting thing about going back to these is that you get to see that period of time, how everyone
Yeah.
dressed, what was in, and that has also been pretty cool. And now
Yeah.
that you say that this was supposed to be like, who's going to win, Hulk, or is it going to be McMahon? Then this segment or vignette should have been after this next match that we're going to talk about.
I think the reason it's not is because I think Hunter probably requested like a buffer. He
Mm,
learned from last year not to have like a real great match before him.
Oh
So
yeah.
that
he's
letdown,
like,
yeah.
I need to bring the audience back down. They just seen two great matches. They seen the great tag team match. They see Shawn Michaels come back and steal the show. Why did you come back, Shawn? Why?
Because
No.
he's just so great.
But
So it's
yeah, so they're like, put this bikini match, put this bed argument, whatever, this cat fight, bedroom cat fight match, and have Coach, and then people will probably forget what happened between Sean and Y2J, and I'll get a fresh, clean audience in time for my match.
Yeah,
palette
the palate
cleanser.
cleanser.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So with that, that takes us to the next match.
Yeah, we got the world heavyweight title, which belonged to Raw at this time. So this is the one that they inherited from WCW. So it looks more like it's all Big Goldie, is what we used to call it.
hmm
So
This
uh,
match is really long for me, 18 minutes and 45
yeah, 18
seconds.
minutes and 45 seconds. We have Triple H versus Booker T, the five-time, five-time, five-time WCW champion.
So I hear that the storyline is really funky. It's a clash of personalities with some racial undertones as Booker team to overcome Triple H's prejudiced comments. What do you think about this match, Wayne?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. You know what? This is not one of Triple H's greatest matches and feuds to go back on and revisit. Every wrestler has a feud that it's like you should go back and watch this feud, right? Everybody has it. Everybody has a match
Mm-hmm.
that's like Undertaker has a bunch of matches, but I wouldn't watch the Saudi one with him tagging with Kane against DX. Why? Because it's awful. That's why. Like everybody has a bad one. I think this feud was garbage. It was hot garbage. The story was hot garbage. I didn't believe for 1 second going into WrestleMania that Booker T was walking out world heavyweight champion. They didn't have me believe at all. You think they would. You think after all the crap that he was put through during this feud that he would be the guy to come out world champion, right? That's what it looks like. The good guy's going to win at the end, right? No, this is Triple H's reign of terror. It's starting. It's only going to get bigger. This one's going to snowball for Triple H. Another guy you keep your eye on. Like, granted, like Triple H is already far in his career, but it's really going to pick up. You know, now he's the world heavyweight champion, which, by the way, I love that title. I love Big Goldie. Loved it. I just think it was maybe it wasn't a product of the time. Like these titles around this Ruthless Aggression era, I really enjoyed because I really like the undisputed title that Kurt Angle has too. Like it's just so gold, but this one had a different hue of gold to it, and it was just massive. It doesn't have a big W on it, you know. It reminded me of the WCW days, but if you look at it closely, it's tweaked just a bit. You know, the gold is a little off, you know. So this title gets a lot of wonderful, holders throughout the next couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is honestly, this is when Triple H is with Ric Flair. This is before Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is, and Triple H went through this so I was a big Triple H fan back then. You know, I was always buying his shirts and stuff, but he was going through this weird phase, like where he was wearing like red trunks, blue trunks, purple trunks. What the hell? Like it was one of the weirdest decisions in his gear that he's made.
I'm sorry, did you miss the original gear that he had where he looked like he was from the medieval time?
Yes. Yes. When he was
blue blood,
yeah, from Connecticut. Yes. But after his DX days, after he's done wearing the DX gear and the green, but like Triple H just started, he always wore black trunks then, right? And that was like, The Rock has a look. The Stone Cold Steve Austin has a look.
He definitely does.
Yeah. Everybody has a look. And then when they change up their gear, they look kind of weird. Some people we adjust to it. Some people we don't. Like, I just thought about it like today, like when the other day I was watching this. Jericho used to wrestle in long pants all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he came to WWE, he came back. Left,
yeah, his second coming of Jericho.
Yeah, he started wearing trunks. And then that's what he wrestled in for the rest of his career, was just trunks. Even Hulk Hogan, like he stopped wearing trunks and started wearing long pants, and that's what he wore. You know what I mean? Like everybody kind of tweaks their gear, and you kind of get used to it. Roman Reigns just recently, not recently, what am I saying? Finally, it just feels like it. Finally lost the vest. He used to come out in this vest all the time, even when he wasn't in the Shield anymore. Mm-hmm. So little tweaks in gear. So the purple gear, I did not enjoy it. Booker T, his best WWE run for me, my opinion, is when he goes to SmackDown and he becomes King Booker. I think that's one of his great runs because he becomes world champion and everybody forgets that he is the six-time champion. And I hear it all the time on commentary, all the time. They're like, "Oh yeah, Booker T, the 5-time champion," and Booker T be like, "Oh, guys, that's a six-time, not 5-time. I won it 6 times." So,
I would say that too.
Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, dude, like the 5-time gimmick was great, but you did win it 6. It's a shame he didn't win it any more than that. But he gets chipped here. Yeah, he gets a WrestleMania match. He gets the big paycheck. But he also loses the feud. He gets kind of humiliated the whole feud. Like I didn't like the feud at all. I hated the storyline. I think Booker kind of falls into the tag team division or the Intercontinental. Mm-hmm. I can't remember where he kind of falls after this before he becomes King Booker and really levels up to like a main event status again. Because I didn't watch Booker T in WCW. So I was on the other channel. I wasn't a channel flipper. I was dedicated. So I didn't watch Booker T matches. So Booker T coming to WWE for me was new, And I'm like, oh, why? I never understood it. I heard this guy was a 5-time world champion. He's a great athlete. He has a great move set.
Mhm.
He has the scissor kick, and he has this bookend that looks similar to the rock bottom. He does the
Right.
spin-a-rooney. He has a great gimmick. He has great music.
Love
Like
the
Booker T
spinneroonie.
has it all. He has it all, right? So
Mhm.
like, why would they never give this guy his his deserved title?
I agree
And
with
so it kind
you.
of, even though I was a Triple H fan, I was frustrated with this feud. I was frustrated that, well, at least if you guys are gonna give me a shit feud, at least get the title of Booker T. And they
Well,
didn't do that either.
you and the fans during this match were also rooting for Booker T.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Booker T. I enjoy his wrestling. Like you said, some of his classic moves and his spinneroonie, but this wasn't that great of a match for me. Was it a rewatch for you, Wade?
No, not at all. It was. I mean, I guess sometimes it's good to revisit these kind of things and remember why you hated him so much. But I was like, man, I never thought I'd see this match ever again, but here we are. Here we are. So
You're like, thanks to
Yeah.
Carlos and Maria.
here we are. I'm really, because it's like sometimes I try to
Surprise,
put out of my
surprise.
mind what the storyline was and try to focus on the match itself.
Right.
But it just wasn't there for me. And
Mm.
Ric Flair there doing his Ric Flair thing, you know, it's crazy where
Preferred
these
him
two,
here than in WrestleMania 18, though.
yes,
So,
oh yeah,
yeah,
at least these guys, they go on to have great careers after this,
right.
even better careers. So it's just up and
Yeah.
up for all three of these guys. So
Yeah. So like, I'm also passing on this match, uh, mainly because I felt like the right book or the right decision that should have happened is Booker T should have won,
Hmm.
and we all
I agree.
know
Yep.
that at this point in time, we all know that Triple H is just like pulling strings and getting what he wants to do. We all know that he is a good he's good on the mat, he's good on the mic, but sometimes you have to know when to take the fall and have it elevate someone else, or when it's time to step aside and have someone else have a time to shine, because it's not only going to benefit you but it benefits the company, because the people, the fans, they might turn some people off, and they may not want to come back, especially on a WrestleMania. You get
Hmm.
those new fans, and you get like people like fans like that might be my wife. This would have been her first WrestleMania, and she gets turned off because Hunter ends up putting himself over Booker T, and she never wants to go out there and buy a Booker T shirt anymore. But I digress into something that it probably shouldn't have gone. But this match has some good spots, but the thing that I believe that kills it is just the storyline, the build up to it. They're building all these racial tones, especially Jerry Lawler, and I know this is what is being fed to him either by Vince or someone in the back, but they keep adding that. I think there was one line about Booker T, uh, where he ends up. I think they say that the king. I might be butchering it, but that Booker T did not have anything to go to after school, and so he ended up going to prison or something like that. It might be
Yeah.
butchering it, but it was something along those lines where Booker T had a rough life and he's a criminal
Hmm.
and things like that.
One.
And that I understand what they were probably trying to do, but
Yep.
we've gone past that, and it should have just been Triple H versus Booker T. Just build it as a face and a heel. Build it up as Triple H screwed Booker or something else, but don't build it on a type of classism type of feud.
Right.
And that's one of the
A
reasons why I
Booker of
can't recommend
Excellence
this.
deserves more than that.
Yeah.
I
So,
agree. Yep.
And with this, we'll move on to match number 7. The battle of Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan.
Is this regular Hulk Hogan or Hollywood Hulk Hogan?
This is still technically regular, but he goes by Hollywood. He's adopted the persona that he had when he was NWO Hulk Hogan. He still keeps those long trunks, like the pants,
right.
because
Yeah.
NWO Hulk Hogan used to wrestle in jeans, and he adopted the boas. They used to be black and white, and now they're red and yellow.
The intro to this match pissed me off
Why?
because they bring up Hulk Hogan testifying. So I feel like that was just people being like a petty patty. No offense to the patties out there. But I was just, I'm like, why do we have to bring that up?
Because
Let's
that's just Vince, and underneath the layers, Vince is always gonna find a way to remind you that he knows that you did something to him. And this was a match where it was probably something like that, but he just brought it up in like in a joking manner, and he's like, "Oh, Hulk, what if we make this whole storyline about who came up with WrestleMania, who was the king, who's the architect, and then we talk about how you betrayed me and you testified against me in the steroid trials. That'll be great, right?"
Okay. So I know what I think, and I know what annoyed me during this match. Wayne, what do you think about this match?
You know what? Vince McMahon, right? And Vince McMahon versus anybody, it's worth watching. Why? Because it's Vince, like again, this is a time like Andrea has seen modern day Vince, like old man Vince. She's talking about WrestleMania last year, gets stunned and he looks brittle. Well, guess what? He's not. So when she saw him, take it off, and Vince McMahon is jacked. Vince has like traps. I'm just like, Vince, like, how do you get these, Vince? What are you doing? What are you doing to get these? Like, how are you getting so jacked? Like, I just forget how buff he was back then.
Yeah, for
I
a
guess they didn't.
57-year-old man,
He
57,
was in
58, he
excellent
was in
shape. He
great
I
shape.
guess
was.
I guess you don't have to take drug tests at your own company, huh? So,
Is that what it was?
I understand the bringing in the personal stuff to hype the feud, right? I mean, you have to. These guys have such history together, and also their promos weren't the best. If you were watching them on SmackDown, there were so many times where like Hulk was flubbing his lines, and you could see him on YouTube. It's bad. So like they made the best out of this promo video, because I was like, oh yeah, I remember the promo video is pretty good. The music, the Vince is very animated with his face, so like his facial reactions, and we see it in this match too. I actually enjoyed this match. I didn't think I was going to, because I mean, it's Vince and Hulk. Like, what are they? They're not going to put on a 5-star match, but they did a pretty decent job. 20 minutes, and they kept me interested. The one thing you'll see in this that you won't see today is headshots with the chair. You won't see that today. Chair shots to the head are not allowed anymore. So, and there was a lot of blood in this match.
Right.
But it played very well, because I really enjoyed the whole reveal of like Vince's face. He's just hiding there, and he just
all
comes
bleedy.
up, and
Yeah, he
he's
looks
got his all
murdery.
blood. Yeah, right. So like the way that camera panned is so iconic, because like when I think WrestleMania 19, there's like a few things I think about. Rock Hogan, the shooting star press, and I think of the bloody face from Vince. You know what I mean? Like that's an image you can take away from this. The ladder spot, Vince taking a ladder spot with a leg drop on through the announcer table. So these are a lot of things you won't see Vince do today, like for damn sure. But Vince took spots, he took spills, he was willing to do it. Vince, as I know, would never ask a wrestler to do something that he himself wouldn't do. Because I heard of him jumping off of high places to prove to wrestlers that like, if I can do it and I'm an old man, you know, then you can do it. So yeah, it's a lot of good spots for these two guys. I enjoyed all the chair spots. I enjoyed the table. I think it's because, like I said, it's no means by 5-star match, but I think it's because it just took me back to a time when we allowed a lot of blood in WWE, when we allowed steel chair shots. And I understand why we don't, right? I get it. I'm not saying let's bring them back.
You're like,
No.
bring on the concussions.
I know, right? It just took me back to a simpler time, because now, like, you do chair shots and stuff, like people hit them on the back, but like when you have somebody maybe like you, Maria, like who hasn't seen stiff chair shots this often, because you don't see them anymore. So seeing something like that's got to be like, ooh, that's gotta hurt, yeah, I mean, good match. I'd go back and revisit it. At least watch the promo. Did you guys notice something about Hulk Hogan's entrance music?
Yeah, Limp Bizkit tried to play the Voodoo Child remix and failed miserably.
It was awful. Awful.
I figured they're in Seattle, that Vince could have at least ponied up the money for the actual rights to pay Jimi Hendrix's sister to get that music, and
but he does. He does at some point, though, right? Like,
I haven't heard it because they didn't play it either.
They didn't play it
WrestleMania 18.
Yeah, no, they a couple. It's gonna be a bit, but they'll start using it. I just thought that like they just did like a different audio for it, or like Limp Bizkit played for it. But I was like, that's not what he comes out to. I was like, because I was singing the music before the music hit, and then when that music hit, I was like, oh no. So yeah, I'd go back and revisit this match. Why not? Right? You're not going to see old man Vince or Hulk wrestle like this again.
Old man Vince.
Well, like, yeah, you're not going to see him jack like that.
56,
like
57-year-old.
Because honestly, I cannot think of any Hulk Hogan matches after this that were very memorable. Same thing with Vince.
Okay.
I really can't. I maybe for Vince, maybe a few. I know he had a good one with Kevin Owens, but I can't think of many. So go back and watch it.
If you want to see Vince bleed like he's never bled before, Wayne recommends that you watch this match.
Yeah, it's like watching a Jon Moxley match.
Yeah, I do not recommend that you go back and watch this match. And let me lay it out for you.
Let me tell you something, dude.
The entrance. Vince did not want to pony up money. They're in Seattle, the birthplace of Jimi Hendrix. Pay them their monies and get the music when you're there. Number 2. What did Hugo Savinovich do to take a chair shot? He's standing there minding his own business, and guess what? He gets hit in the head with the chair, and then he ends up bleeding, and he has to get carted out.
That was funny.
And then pretty much the third reason is, well, actually, it's a 3 and a 3A. This is a street fight.
Yeah.
They don't go anywhere. They don't even go back to the entrance ramp or entryway. They do not attempt to go into the crowd.
Yep.
And for some reason, they keep throwing the opponent back into the ring. It's a street fight. You could do the pinfalls outside. You don't have to put them back in the ring.
Take your street fight to the street.
Yeah. And then the 3A is that they gave them 20 minutes and 47 seconds.
Yeah. I'm actually on the same page. Like I said, I didn't like the snippy intro. Is McMahon super strong, super buff, bleedy McMahon interesting? Yeah, but my favorite part of this match is when Hulk leg drops McMahon for the pin and the win.
Oh, the 3 times.
And I was like, the match is over. I'm not that thrilled with seeing McMahon wrestle, but I can see Wayne's points. That's why I kind of asked what you guys thought about it. So this is a pass for me.
All right. And with that, we're moving on to the next match, match number 8 on the card. The match is Stone Cold versus The Rock. A WrestleMania rivalry comes to an end.
Do you guys feel like we had like 3 main events during this WrestleMania?
Oh,
Shawn
yeah,
Michaels,
sure.
Jericho, this match, and then Angle.
Yeah.
Well, technically the titles, quote unquote,
No title
the
for this one.
Triple H versus Booker T is supposed to be a main event. That's the Raw main event.
Okay.
Because right now we had the brand split. So that was their main event. And then SmackDown has their own main event, which is the main event, which will have Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar.
What do they call him? The Vanilla Gorilla?
Yeah, they do. Oh man. Okay,
Well,
so
yeah,
I
we'll
wasn't
get
the
to
only
that.
one who caught
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
No, yeah.
I was like, what?
Oh my gosh. So yes,
Oh.
The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to shout this shit because this was a great match. So
Yeah. So Rock, Stone Cold, did you finally make a choice? Or are you still like
I'm Team Rock.
You're Team Rock still. Okay.
2003 Rock looks great. I am also a fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin. This was an excellent match. They start wrestling right away, and it's great.
Mm-hmm. Wayne?
Oh, dude! Like, I mean, come on, dude! Just bring it. I mean, I'm a Rock fan through and through.
Yeah,
Like,
look at
I
him.
was just at this time. Obviously, like, how can you not be a fan of either or? Like, heel face doesn't matter. So for me at this time, it was like I really wanted Rock to get the W. Like, he's lost to Stone Cold twice already, and the rubber match is done. Like, you didn't beat him last time, dude. Like, you're not gonna win the feud, but you're not gonna win the war, but you want to win the battle. I guess kind of situation. But it was entertaining. The promo was great through and through. The match was great. These guys get 20 minutes or not 20 minutes, 17 minutes and 55 seconds for what a 17 minutes we get. Because like the build-up promo video was so badass for it.
Right.
They used the theme music for WrestleMania, I believe. So that made it look pretty good. And this is the time when The Rock comes back and he's heel, he turned his back on the fans, or the fans turned their back on him, and because he went to Hollywood. And and The Rock played heel so well, and Rock being able to be heel and just trash talk everybody week in week. It was just great. I loved it because he doesn't stick around much longer after this. Like The Rock doesn't. Yeah, he after that, right after this, the very next night, he gets speared by Goldberg, who makes his WWE debut. He has a feud with Goldberg, and then I think that's kind of it. The Rock kind of disappears for a while, and then that's when The Rock becomes part-time Rock. And we saw him this year or last year. We only saw him twice. That's it. That's all we got of The Rock, but this guy could still go. And Stone Cold Steve Austin, like, he didn't want anybody knowing this is going to be his last match. Like, he didn't want it promoted that way. He didn't want nobody in the back to know. Which I get it, dude. Like, that's the way you want it. That's the way you want to go out. He didn't want to win the match. He wanted to lose. I guess if we as fans knew, then I guess maybe they would have put it as the main event. It's what a hell of a match to have to follow, though. and it's great. These guys were stealing each other's finishers,
Right.
to see the Rock do a stunner with the vest on, which was
Right.
great. Throwing the vest on, and then Stone Cold doing the Rock bottom, and then the Rock getting everybody got their moves in. He's got the people elbows in, instead of throwing the the elbow pads, he takes the vest, throws it, and it takes 3 rock bottoms to put Stone Cold Steve Austin down for the next 19, 20 years. I mean, that
Yeah.
rock bottom put him down for 20 years because it took that long for him to be like, okay, I'll do another match, and that's
Right.
when we get him and Kevin Owens. But it's an end of an era for Stone Cold. Like, you think about the WrestleManias that you guys have been covering, with Stone Cold in it, and
Mm.
how he was like in the main event of a lot of those pay-per-views, how he was a big get for those pay-per-views, a big part of the story, and now it's like that's it. Like, he's done. Like,
Yeah.
he's taking his ball and he's going home. Like,
This.
and all these wrestlers, out of all the pain that they go through, it's like well deserved. There was many times over those 20 years where it's like, oh man, like if he could have one more match, he could do it against this person, this person. I'm like, yeah, but like he's happy. He's like retired. He retired like when he was at peak in pain, with
Right.
his neck and stuff.
Hmm.
So, and uh yeah, and we find out too in this WrestleMania he's not the only one with neck issues. So,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
but
Angle.
yeah, amazing match. Definitely go back and watch this match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is their third and final WrestleMania.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the end of their WrestleMania rivalry. This isn't
Mhm.
like this is like I went back and actually counted how many matches they've had,
Yeah.
and like one-on-one matches they've had like a total of 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, actually, like title matches for championships, they've had like it's 5. But at WrestleMania, this is the third official match that they have. Um, versus each other. This is the only
Yeah.
one without a belt,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
this is the only one that also does not have any type of outside interference that makes the decision.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. This is
yeah.
another. Sorry, this is another one of those matches where like there's no title needed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could do more of that today, where you can have 2 high caliber wrestlers like this and not a single piece of gold involved.
Yeah,
So
and it's just more about like sometimes the booker or whoever is coming up with the programs needs to remember that the titles are like an added bonus for you to have in the storytelling type
Hmm.
of
yep.
process. It doesn't have to be this is the main reason. It could be, like someone like the Royal Rumble is primarily the time when we start getting all the threads being pulled and we get people be thrown aside and they're like starting the feuds during that Rumble. It
Hmm.
could be this guy eliminated this guy uh, from the Royal Rumble, and that's why the rivalry started. This guy, betrayed this guy during the Royal Rumble, and that's why that rivalry started. But there's a lot of things that you can do with the booking that doesn't always have to involve a title. And these are not only this match is an example, the HBK versus Chris Jericho is an example of matches that didn't have to have a title to be great matches or just to have fans there and actually enjoyed the storytelling that's being built up by the promos, the vignettes, the run ins, so on and so forth. So this is a match I recommend. It's not the best of the 3 matches, but uh, it's not better than one. I think this is like tied with the second one.
Yeah.
Uh, but I liked it that they finally gave us a clean finish. It looked like Stone Cold was supposed to probably get up after the second rock bottom, but
Yeah.
I think he's like, no, I'm done. Just give me a third one and let's go home
Yeah,
because
let's go home.
he looked gas.
Well, at the end, The Rock whispered to him, "Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me." And he said, "I love you." They said, "I love you too." And that's just like a telltale sign of two people that are one masters at their craft, but also they have a lot of respect for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So this was excellent. Definitely recommend that you watch this. Tons of good spots. Like you said, we get to see Samoan drops, rock bottoms, spine busters. This is just really good. They move really well. They have really good chemistry with each other, and they're two excellent, iconic wrestlers.
Yeah. And with that, we get to the ninth and final match of this card.
The main event,
The main event.
Main
Brock.
event.
Kurt Angle finally main events of WrestleMania.
Not an acute angle, a Kurt angle.
Yeah, and he faces off against the youngest WWE title holder at this time, Brock Lesnar. This match goes for 22 minutes even. Looks like. Maria, you are a fan of Kurt Angle?
I am. And this is a match I didn't think I needed to see, like a Brock Lesnar
Mm-hmm.
and a Kurt Angle, but this was a pretty good match.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar gets hit against a turnbuckle, power slam by Kurt Angle. We get a suplex. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of good spots during this match.
Yeah, but you are also a fan of Brock Lesnar,
I am.
but you are more of a fan of Suplex City
Mm.
Brock Lesnar. What did you think about this younger version of Brock Lesnar?
Well, we have good moves by Kurt Angle. We see a press slam. And like you said, I am a fan of Brock Lesnar. He's great. We have a lot of good suplexes from both Lesnar and Angle. Um, I was excited to see them wrestle. It was good.
Yeah, Wayne, what about you?
Oh man, dude, what a great main event! What a great way to end this pay-per-view. You have a very green Brock Lesnar, but like Brock may be green, but he's still very experienced in the
Right.
wrestling aspect. And to be in the ring with somebody like Kurt Angle, like I was so excited to see this match. 'Cause I didn't care who won. It was one of those matches where I was like, I don't care who wins. Like Kurt Angle is doing his Team Angle thing right now, so he's like a badass heel. He's got the WWE Championship, which I thought looked cool. He had the awesome matching ring gear, the jumpsuit or whatever,
Right.
and then the tag. See, like stables, I don't know, stables that have matching like gear, matching theme music, big.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I always like that. I really like that aspect. I always hate when you have stables that don't have any gear and they come out separately, but yeah, Kurt Angle's that he's not even, I don't even think he's really peaked because he leaves after this match because he had prior neck injuries before this match. He got hit with a steel chair a couple weeks before and it really messed up his neck like really bad.
Was
And
he a boxer before this?
No, he was a wrestler, an
He was a
Olympic
wrestler?
wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An Olympic wrestler like Kurt
yeah.
Angle?
No, you're talking about Brock?
Yeah.
Oh,
Brock
no,
Lesnar.
Brock is a wrestler just like Kurt Angle was, but he didn't go to the Olympics. He
Okay.
came straight to WWE.
Mm.
And then he goes off maybe like was it 2006 or 7? He goes off to UFC.
Because they brawl,
Yeah.
but you could see that they both have like some technical wrestling aspects, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Like he's a former NCAA champion. Kurt Angle's a former
Yeah.
Olympic gold medalist. So even like on paper, this is a great match. And this is Brock when he's 300 pounds. This isn't like Brock who cut weight in UFC 265 pounds. This is big boy, big farm boy Brock, He decimated the roster. to get to where he's at. Like, he's also within the same time frame. He defeated The Rock, became the youngest WWE champion at SummerSlam, and then it just snowballs into now the main event for the WWE title. Who can forget the infamous shooting star press that caused Brock Lesnar to have a concussion? The guy did the shooting star press and didn't even realize he finished the match. He didn't know where he was. Like, he was recommended, day of that, I think you should do a shooting star press. And Brock's like, I haven't done it in a year or many years. He used to do an OVW. And a lot of people who think like Brock Lesnar should never try that new move that he's never done before, go on YouTube and look at Brock Lesnar doing the shooting star press in OVW. He did it a lot and he did it very well. I understand, like, you haven't done it for a couple years. You probably didn't even take the time to, like, I don't know, maybe before the show started, you had a little bit of time to practice in the ring. Maybe I should try shooting star press on a bunch of mats, kind of practice before I do it in front of 50,000 people. But yeah, he fell short. I remember watching this, like, oh, I think he broke his damn neck too. I think after tonight, everybody's gonna have a broken damn neck.
Kurt Angle broke his neck during this, or had a broken neck.
No,
yeah,
this
yeah,
match.
he had, yeah, and just when Kurt got backstage after the match, like after the adrenaline wore off, he went numb and he started shaking violently, and they had to rush him to the ER right away. Like, it's crazy. Like, and later on throughout the years, when a lot of these guys get older, we see that too with certain wrestlers. Like after WrestleMania, they
Right.
they immediately go to the emergency room. We've seen that with Undertaker, and actually, and I totally forgot to bring this up, but Stone Cold was in the hospital the day prior. He was in the hospital because his heart rate accelerated, and he believed he was having a heart attack.
Wow.
And the man went to the hospital Saturday night, and he got out, Sunday morning. Like, holy crap! What if?
Right.
Like, a lot of people don't know that. Like, Stone Cold almost didn't wrestle. Kurt Angle almost didn't wrestle. Like, there was talks about Kurt Angle losing his title on SmackDown in a 30-second match.
Right.
Like, that was a real thing. Like, that they were like, we're gonna lose it in 30 seconds. But like, he didn't want to do that. Like, he wanted to go out on his own terms. And Kurt Angle was always, I heard, tough to work with when it came to, like, maybe you should take some time off, Kurt, and maybe you should, get your neck looked at. But he was a workhorse. The guy just, I remember, like, they wanted him to take time off and he didn't want to do it. And there was a point where he didn't re-sign with the company, and Kurt Angle went to Impact Wrestling. And this was probably where a lot of his best work was in Impact Wrestling. It's crazy to think that, because when he came back, he was goofy as shit.
Wow.
This, oh my God, amazing match. You gotta be
Kurt
a fool
Angle, if you're hearing this, I'm a big fan.
Oh
Yeah, we're hoping to go
Pittsburgh native.
Go see him. He's gonna have an autograph session nearby the day of the Royal Rumble. So
it's true. It's damn true.
So
no, that'd be awesome. To see Kurt Angle now. I mean, dude, that'd be great. Like, the guy's held how many championships? Like, he was not a guy to ever sleep on. Like, Kurt Angle was a guy who came into the business who didn't know anything about professional wrestling, and adapted and picked it up so fast. And he was just, he could be serious. He could be a heel. He could be a goofball. There was this feud with Shawn Michaels. That was great. Like, he was a really good heel for that. And then then you have, like, general manager Kurt Angle, or, like, goofy Kurt Angle wearing the little tiny hat, drinking milk, playing the guitar.
Right.
singing with Stone Cold. You know, like
That was fun.
he has range. The guy has range. You know, and Brock just becomes this unstoppable beast
Mhm.
for the next few years. Then he leaves in 2004. It's actually a year after this he leaves, and then we don't see Brock for a while, and then he comes back and he becomes the apex predator of our species. So yeah,
Yeah,
both of these guys have great careers after this.
yeah. He goes off to Japan. I had that mixed
Yeah.
up. So he
Yes.
goes off to Japan before he goes to join the UFC, and then returns back in 2012.
Mhm.
I did forget that he did go to Japan for a little bit because, dude, the guy was big over in Japan. I mean, like, Brock, you think like the average size of Japanese wrestlers over there, and then you got a guy like Brock Lesnar coming in. It's like, holy crap! Like, this guy is just crushing people. You want to see a good match from him over in New Japan. There's actually a good match between Brock Lesnar and Shinsuke Nakamura. Check that
Like they
out.
don't call him the beast incarnate for nothing.
Mm.
I was like, that guy is strong.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Do you recommend this match? Do you have anything to add about the match, or what?
I definitely recommend that you watch this match. Like we said, we have a real life Olympic gold medalist, Brock Lesnar, former NCAA Division Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, and you will have a good time watching the wrestling machine and the next big thing. So do
Yeah.
yourself a favor and
And
watch it.
Wayne.
Dude. Yeah. Even just this pay-per-view overall was great to revisit. Great to revisit. We did talk about some sleepers, but there was a lot more good quality matches than there was bad ones.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this is a good pay-per-view. After the past to have to follow up WrestleMania 18, to have to follow up Hogan and Rock,
Mhm.
to have to follow up Jericho and Triple H. Like, this was a great follow up, and so much of those characters evolved in 1 year. And then we talked about a little bit here how much they evolve even further 1 year. Who
Right.
leaves? Who quits? Who passes away? Who actually becomes a WWE champion for the first time? So much is going to happen. And it's good to see that a lot of these wrestlers are still wrestling today.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are still alive,
Mhm.
still wrestling today. And then the ones that are retired still kind of do work for the company. So,
It's true.
Yeah. And as for me, I also recommend that you guys revisit this match. This is a great match that shows the technical skills between these two guys. They start off the match slow, but it kind of slowly builds. You have to you got to remember that for 4 months ago in Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar had lost the belt, so he's coming back. But it hasn't been that long since he made his WrestleMania debut, and I believe it was in right after WrestleMania 18, like in May or either mid May or late May of that month. So if you think about that time frame, like that's not 10 months that he's been making waves, and Vince entrusted him to go out there and not only have this match, but also he gave him the belt now for the second time in 10 months.
Yeah. I mean, this guy beats The Rock, and
Mhm.
then he loses his title to the Big Show at Survivor Series, if I recall.
Right, because of
And I
Paul
think
Heyman.
Yes, and I think Big Show loses it to Kurt Angle, and that's how it makes its way back to Brock Lesnar. It's crazy how that worked out. Like you said, being able to hold the title 2 times in less than 10 months, and both of those matches were high caliber matches. Like, young man too, young Brock.
Yeah, 25 years old, 26 years old, I believe, when this match actually takes place.
I will say Brock, he was 25.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was the youngest when
He
he
did
won
not
at
look
25.
25 in
No,
this
he
Yeah.
looks
match.
like
He looked like
he's one
in
of those
his
people that look like he would have been
30s.
like 45.
Like, sir,
And
25. What?
this is before Sable got her claws into him too.
Yeah.
So.
So
Mm.
Yeah.
Wrestling tea.
Let's go ahead and give a little recap here before we sign off here. So, WrestleMania 19 was a showcase of unparalleled athleticism and storytelling, featuring some of the biggest names of professional wrestling during that era. The event kicked off with a high flying encounter between Rey Mysterio and Matt Hardy, setting the tone for the adrenaline fueled night ahead.
The women's champion match witnessed Victoria defending her title against Trish Stratus and Jazz in a fierce triple threat battle, showcasing the evolving role of women in the wrestling landscape. The HBK returned to face off against Jericho and give us a masterclass in storytelling, athleticism, and emotional intensity. This match not only delivered in the ring, but also outside of the ring.
Yeah, and the night continued with the street fight between Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon for the bragging rights or for the right to be the guy who says that they created WrestleMania. The bitter rivalry reached its climax as the two titans clashed in a brutal and dramatic encounter that left them both bloodied by the end of the night.
So, WrestleMania 19 also featured a historic encounter between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in their third and final match at WrestleMania. The anticipation and energy surrounding this epic showdown were palpable as two of the biggest icons in the industry collided in a battle for supremacy. The match delivered on its promise, solidifying the legacies of both The Rock and Stone Cold in the annals of wrestling history.
The main event showcased Kurt Angle defending his WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar, and a technical masterpiece that we all enjoyed, and obviously everyone in the crowd did too. These two wrestlers, and we mean wrestlers because they were actually college like trained and everything, engaged in an intense battle with Lesnar ultimately coming out victorious, even though he doesn't remember how he won it, and signaling the beginning of a new era in WWE.
So,
And
with that, do you want to
with
wrap
that,
up our matches?
yeah, we'll just go ahead and go through our recommended matches.
Wayne, what are your favorite matches out of this WrestleMania?
Ooh. It's going to be the tag match for the SmackDown tag titles. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be The Rock versus Stone Cold, and it's going to be Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. Oh, and to cap that, I think probably the best match you're going to get is Shawn versus Jericho,
Yeah.
even though it's
Okay.
smack down the middle of the show.
Okay.
I think we're twinning except for that McMahon and Hulk. So I'm on the same page.
Yeah, and as for me, I recommend the matches. The kickoff: Matt Hardy versus Rey Mysterio, the three-way tag team. HBK versus Jericho, The Rock versus Stone Cold, and the final match of this card: Brock Lesnar cementing his place as the apex predator. Oh, actually, he's not the apex predator. That's Randy Orton. He's coming soon.
He's also
But
my
as the
favorite.
beasting of this company. So, Wayne, do you have anything to plug, or where can the people find you if they want to get more of your tidbits?
Yeah, we have this wonderful podcast, PCW Podcast Championship Wrestling. We recently just went over our Slammy Awards, so all of our awards for 2023. Man, it wasn't a long episode like last year's. Last year's was like 4 hours. So I just re-listened to it, but it was great. It was such a good episode. I'm excited to get it out there. We have this little window where we're going to be doing the Royal Rumble predictions then. And I found some new wrestling fans on some social media. And we bringing them on, giving them some interviews, get to meet some new people. I like bringing more people into our wrestling podcast community. Just letting it grow, getting larger, you know?
Yeah.
So you can find all our PCW stuff everywhere. everywhere. We have a Facebook page where we have our website on onpodium.com, and we also sell merchandise on Pro Wrestling Tees. So
Awesome. And with that, please remember to like, comment, and share this video with your fellow wrestling fans, enthusiasts, heels, marks, baby faces, rudos, technicals, whoever you want to have opinions with, and be like, these guys, they're wrong, or these guys actually nailed it. Please, you know, share us. We're gonna load up the audio version of this podcast on Monday. It'll be available on all audio podcast formats: Apple, Spotify, Google, Audible, Spreaker, wherever you find. Well, we're there. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Our next show will be WrestleMania 20, and yeah, the double X's, and
nice.
we'll be filming that, and we're putting that up on Sunday, January 14th. That's gonna be a 2 p.m. Central show.
Cool.
And with that, thank you very much for joining us again, Wayne. To anyone listening,
Thank you for
have a great
listening
night
and watching. Have a great night.
Peace.